One.
Hey, welcome to week 7, rookies. Week 6 was another over week. Thought it would go. We'd have our over week in week 8, but it came early for sure. So I was 3-2 on my premium picks, to include another free pick in the books. 5-1 so far this season. Straight up 11-2. Premium picks. I won on the under on the cards in the pack. Obviously, has the free pick, and then got the Lions and the Steelers easy wins. Lost the Colts Titans game and the under on the Commanders Ravens game. Overall, through week 6, premium picks are 26-10-3. Jeff, how was your week 6 performance?
It was satisfactory. It was a winning week, 2-0, free picks. 10-3 straight up, and I'm showing 8-6 against the spread because I did the double on the Cowboys.
Yeah, rookies, we're up on X, Instagram, TikTok, and obviously here at Rookies Beat Bookies. Email us if you're looking for to get our picks, our premium picks throughout the season. Hey, Jeff, what were your key betting takeaways from week 6?
Well, I think my spreadsheet typically at this point of the year starts to get a little tighter in line with Vegas. So I'm starting to see that happening, and it's really about whether I deduct or whether Vegas, I guess, adjust for injuries and weather. Because right now things are getting really close in my spreadsheet versus the spreads I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's a great point. I gotta tell you, Jeff, I'm looking at that Falcons Lions offense. They are just scorching teams. So I'm looking hard at the over unders and seeing if Vegas gets some moves too high to see if there's any value on the unders potentially. What do you think about though? What do you think about those two teams going into the next week?
So I would certainly stick with Detroit trying to score with Hutchinson being injured. I think they're going to feel the need to score more without their best defensive player. So I think they'll really, the offense is going to have to carry them and they'll know it. Atlanta, I don't have a problem with because I think they are talented, and I think Kirk Cousins is starting to feel more comfortable, so he's got a good shot to keep it going.
Yeah, so we began the season talking about which teams are going to be out of the playoffs. I think the numbers are about only 63, 64%. Don't quote me, but I think it's somewhere in there that actually make it to the next season into the playoffs. So, I mean, believe it or not, 4 playoff teams right now, as it stands today, are the all 4 NFC North teams, with the division leaders only getting in the playoffs. So, those on the outside looks like Eagles, Cowboys, Rams, Saints, maybe Falcons. Saints, Falcons. Falcons could get in depending on how they do against Tampa Bay, but they're all looking at the outside right now. And then in the AFC, Bengals, Cleveland, and Miami are, I don't know how they do it unless things change drastically. What are your thoughts on the playoff picture already? I know it's a little too early, but
Those are the teams I'm thinking that are going to drop. I definitely see Washington taking the NFC East because of the turmoil with Philly and Dallas. So you got those two teams out of the playoffs from last year, and I don't see them making a run to be a wild card team. So you got multiple teams from the North. It's actually kind of surprising that Green Bay is getting lost a little bit. Mostly people are talking Minnesota and Detroit. And since Love's got back, their offense has been exceptional. So yeah, I think those three teams are really strong. And then Tampa Bay, they're showing that they're legit. I don't know that they're legit Super Bowl contenders, but they're strong playoff contenders.
yeah, for sure. We saw a few key injuries this week worth watching. Olave and Harrison had concussions, critical wide receivers. Obviously, Hutchinson underwent successful surgery to repair a fractured tibia and fibula, and hopefully he'll be back next season, but he's out the rest of the season. Commanders, the D tackle Allen is out for the season with a pec injury, and their defensive end Armstrong did not return. So watch that unit, as that's a looks like a cluster of injuries there on the front seven for the Commanders. and they really weren't that great on defense anyway. Surtain might have a concussion for the Broncos going tonight. Etienne did not return against the Bears. Chargers had a rash of injuries with Hurst, Leonard, Pipkins, Slater, and Johnston, all getting banged up, nicked up. Got to watch that. Giants tackle Thomas with a foot. Looks like he's out. The Pats tackle Lowe with a foot. He looks like he's out. The Eagles may be without Miliata and Goddard with hammies, and so while Goddard is their tight end, it also will affect their running game there potentially. Add Frazier to the offensive line woes for the Steelers as he might be out, or at least he's week to week with an ankle. Dean is out at cornerback for the Bucks. Jeff, any other key injuries you're looking at this week?
No other ones. There's a couple of those that you mentioned that had me questioning my normal picks based on numbers. So Hutchinson for Detroit makes me wonder about that Minnesota game, and then Arizona. A receiver typically only impacts the point spread by about half a point, but that one might have a bigger impact. So yeah, kind of debating on those two.
Yeah, it's a tough week, I think, here in week 7. So looking at the buys, you got the Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, all coming off buys, and the Cowboys and the Bears, are going in their bye week. So since 2003, coming off buys, they're 24 and 254 and 228, 52.5% overall. But the favorites are 148, 103. We're going to give that stat every week. So since 2020, KC is 4-1 in the win loss. The Chargers, I'm sorry, the Rams are 2-2, Vikings 3-1, and the Dolphins are a perfect 4-0. ATS, not so good for Kansas City. They're 1-5. That includes a playoff game. Rams 1-3, Vikings 2-1-1, Miami 2-2. And additionally, KC is just 1-5 to the over after a bye week, and Miami is 1-3 to the over after a bye week. Jeff, any thoughts on the bye week returnees from week 6 that you're looking at?
Well, I don't see any major benefits, no huge injury recoveries or anything from any one of these teams. I do expect the Kansas City streak to continue because I think they're one, playing a tough opponent, and two, I think right now Patrick Mahomes is just playing kind of safe and conservative ball. So I don't think they're going to go out and have any big offensive explosion this week. So I think you're looking at an under and possibly another a 1-6 ATS.
Yeah, good call, Jeff. I like that. Hey, Thursday, Broncos traveled to Big Easy to take on the Saints, reeling from injuries. 2 rookie starting quarterbacks. Broncos are favored by 3. The over-under is 37. I lean to the Broncos' best unit here, and that's the defense on the defensive side, but I think the total is a bit low for that fast field. So I would lean to the over with the Broncos, but no money that I'm putting on this game. Jets, Jeff, any thoughts on the Big Easy?
Well, I think this will be two things. You've got the best unit will be the Denver defense out of any units on there. And you've got the rookie quarterback playing against that best unit. So I think that's definitely going to favor Denver. And I really think the Sean Payton coming back to New Orleans is going to have an impact. Since it's not a player, I don't think it impacts an emotion that could go negative. I think this is mainly going to be just a positive of him probably really focusing on game plan, maybe even a few tricks. So I give that a boost to Denver too. So I'm taking Denver to win and cover.
Yep. Next up, our second London game has the familiar UK Jaguars staying abroad and favored by 5.5 to the pass, the over under at 42. I have nothing to say here, and I'm going to lean to Jacksonville to win. And I would probably look hard at the under, but I'm not putting any money on this one. Jeff, who wins across the pond here this week?
Well, my numbers tell me New England. And not only that, but I think there's a really good chance that Doug Peterson, with one more loss, gets fired. And the fact that they stayed in London all week with that stewing on their minds, I think that might have a little bit of a negative impact on their performance. So I'm going to make this my free pick. I'm taking New England and has to win and cover as my free pick.
Whoa, whoa, rookies! Jeff coming off the ropes, off the top rope. This is a ladder match. Jeff coming way up high. Take the Pats plus 5.5 against the Jags in London for Jeff's free pick of the week. Hey, our first 12 o'clock game, Dolphins travel to face off against the Colts. Home favorites by -3 are the Colts with the over-under at 43 and a hook. Not much to say here, Jeff. Richardson looks to be back, coming off that injury, and the Dolphins are coming off a bye, and they're bad on offense. Looks like Taylor might not go, but he might go. So watch that one. And there's a whole bunch of defensive players on the Colts front seven that aren't going. This feels like a track meet to me, believe it or not. I think Huntley's going to get some time. They're gonna have some special plays for him. I don't like the hook though, so I'm staying away from the side. And I feel like this is dead money. But I kind of like the Dolphins here. Jeff, can the Colts stay in the playoff picture?
I think they do. I mean, I know they do have several injuries. I haven't seen enough to make me want to skew the numbers too much here, and my numbers do tell me Indy. And I think they're the only team that's got a motivation, chance to make the playoffs. I think Miami's probably feeling like it's a lost cause this year. So I'm going to go Indy to win and cover.
All right. Next up, Eagles travel to New York as 3-point road favors with the over-under set at 43. Look, too many injuries on the O-line and the offensive side of the ball for me to even look at the total. This thing's going under. I'm going to lean to the home team to win, but no conviction, and I wouldn't put up any real money here on this game at all. Jeff, can the Eagles win on the road?
I've got them. This is one of my 6 splits between winning straight up and ATS, which is really high number of games. I've got them to win. I do think they're slightly better team, but there's so much turmoil in the team with the coach, the quarterback, coach, the offensive coordinator. It does worry me, and I definitely think that's enough to keep the Giants close. So I think Philly probably wins. Giants definitely cover.
All right, next up, Bengals travel to Cleveland. The road favorites 5.5, -5.5. The over/under at 41 and a hook. This is the best bet against the Browns line. Cleveland gets Chubb back. Their O-line woes continue. They can't protect the quarterback. Third down efficiency is awful for the season, 19.2%. Cleveland has 66.7 red zone conversions rate, but that's they've only been to the red zone 9 times. And so, that's just terrible, Jeff. The best team in the league is there, San Francisco at 27. That is 3 times under the best team in the red zone. Now, when they get in the red zone, they convert, but they don't get there because their offense is so inefficient on third down. To boot, they're tied with the Jets at 50 penalties. Second, so they're basically second worst in the league. I'm sorry, they're tied for second worst because the Texans are the worst at 51 penalties. Bengals are much better offensively, but remained outside looking in. Despite the obvious stat differential, this is a division game on the road for Cincy. And Chubb's coming back. I think it stays within 5.5, Jeff. I leaned to Cleveland here, and I think with Chubb, this offense gets going, and I think it gets over this total, believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy. That's where I'm leaning. Jeff, does the dog pound give Cleveland an edge here?
Well, it might give them a slight edge to keep it close, but Cincinnati is the better team. They got the far superior quarterback, so they safely win the game. I trust Burrow to manage to come back, even if there is a tight game at the end. But Chubb coming back, emotional lift probably. And I do think Cincinnati's defense is weak enough and the Cleveland defense is strong enough to slow Cincinnati a little. So I think it stays within about a 3-point game. So I'm going to say Cincy wins, but Cleveland covers.
All right, next up, the Seahawks travel to Atlanta, battle the Birds, take on the hot Falcons. Falcons favored by 3 with the over under at 51. The Seahawks have given up 36, 29, and 42 in their last 3 games. I like the over here because the Falcons D is nothing to write home about either. Additionally, I like the Falcons to maintain the pressure. I like the Falcons team for all the right reasons. They pass when they need to, 500 plus against the Bucks. They run when they need to, 198 rushing yards against the Panthers. Historically, these two teams are 2-2 since 2017. Seattle is just 4-7 with rest disadvantage since 2020, while Atlanta not much better with rest advantage at 7-8 in that same time frame. Atlanta is just 6-16 as a home favorite ATS since 2020. I'm still going with Atlanta, but I would lean to the over. Does Atlanta extend their winning streak here, Jeff?
I think they do. And I think some of those numbers are kind of moot now that they've got a better quarterback. I think quarterback play really went into some of their struggles with rest advantage because the extra rest really helps you prepare better to execute. And if you don't have a quarterback that can execute, it doesn't help. So now that they've got Cousins, I expect that rest advantage to have benefited them. So I think Atlanta wins this game. Now, Seattle's a tough team. I got this right at the line. So I think they will cover, but I'm pretty comfortable with Atlanta winning.
Okay, next up, Titans travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills favored by 9.5 with the over under at 41. Bills snuck one by the Jets with heavy penalties against the Jets and poor special teams play on the Jets' part. But good teams win ugly, and that was an ugly win for Allen and company. The Titans can't generate offense at quarterback position to agree that will lead to wins in the NFL, other than bottom feeding off of bad teams. Not sure where the problem is the team has plenty of weapons on offense. This game feels under to me like a 24-10 score with a lot of running on the part of the Bills after they get up. Jeff, who do you like here in Buffalo?
I definitely like Buffalo to win the game. If they had acquired Amari Cooper a little earlier to give a little more time for him to get into the offense, I think he's going to help them a lot. But I don't think that starts this week. So I think Tennessee's able to stay within, about 6 or 7 points. I'm going to take Buffalo to win, but Tennessee to cover.
All right. Next up, Texans travel to Lambeau to take on the Pack. Packers are favored by 2.5. I've seen threes, over unders at 47 and a hook. Green Bay has scored 29, 24, and 34 since Love has returned. Texans have scored 41, 23, and 24 in their last 3, but still leaning to the under as the Texans give up 4.6 yards on the ground. And this feels like the Texans' pass defense will hold up against Love, and the Pack is going to lean on the run to win, similar to what they did in the Titans game. If you remember that game, it was a 16-10 game. They won it, but it feels like it's going to be the same thing, even with Love at quarterback. I like the Pack to win by more than a field goal, more than I like the under, though. So for my first free pick of the week, take Green Bay minus 2.5 versus Texans. Green Bay has dominated the last 3 going back to 2012, and I like them this week. Jeff, who wins this battle?
Well, I got Green Bay winning. Definitely impressed with Jordan Love after he got back from the injury. But Houston does have a very good pass rush. They've got one of the best pass rush win rates in the league. So it will definitely impact Love a little bit. They're going to have to be able to run the ball. That's going to be key. I think Houston, if they run the ball, I think it stays below the total because it slows things down, but that at least helps Houston keep it close. So I think this is a Green Bay win and a Houston cover.
Well, I hope not, because it's my free pick. So we'll have to see. I'm 5-1 so far this season. I might be 6-1, maybe 5-2. Hey, next up, Lions travel to Minnesota to take on the 5-0 Vikings coming off a bye. Minnesota is favored by 1.5. It was 2.5. The over/under set at 50 and a hook. Look, go over the total now. This was almost my free pick of the week. Hutchinson is out for the season, but the front 7 is a strong grouping. So as great as a player as he is, I don't think this does as much damage to the team as it might have been if they had some other players that are down on that front seven. But it's still an emotional loss because he is an emotional leader on that team. The Lions are number one in scoring, Vikings fifth. I like the Lions here. They're constructed to win a Super Bowl. They run the ball. Give me the Lions and the points all day. Jeff, do the Vikings go 6-0 here?
No, I do. I really like Detroit. That's been one of my themes all year, and then last week, especially with my double on them over Dallas, which I do take a good bit of pride in, since it's rooting against Dallas and being able to bet against them that big. And I mean, I do think they need to replace Hutchinson if they want to win the Super Bowl because there will be a few teams that they'll need that extra QB pressure. But the rest of their front seven is really solid, especially, against the run. They did a great job against the pass with Dallas, but I think they'll need a little bit more. I think they'll lean on their offense to make up for Hutchinson in the short term. So I expect this game to go over. And I do think they'll win and cover.
All right, next up, Commanders host the Panthers, favored by 7.5 to 8, with the over/under set at 51 and a hook. I think the over/under started at like 48, so this thing's gone up quite a bit since Monday. The Panthers D has allowed 39, 36, and 34 points in the last three, while the Commanders have scored 23, 34, 42, and 38 in their last four. With the defensive injuries, though, the Commanders will likely give up three scores and score at least six times. So despite the high number, I'm going to lean to the over anyway. Washington is 3-1 since 2018 in this series. Betting on it, Daniels is a way to lose money this season. But I don't like the hook, so I'm staying away from the spread. Jeff, do you like the value here?
I definitely agree with you on the over. They have been incredibly efficient, which is the thing that I was surprised with the rookie quarterback. Explosive, I knew he had the potential, but consistent and efficient has been so impressive. So I think this game goes over. They're definitely going to win the game, and I don't know that they punt at all this game, so I think they cover the spread as well. So I'm Washington to win and cover.
Game of the week with the 49ers hosting the Super Bowl champs and 5-0 Chiefs, a 2023 rematch. The 49ers are favored by 1.5 and seem to be riding the ship. The over-under set at 47. Chiefs go Smith Schuster going last game before the bye with the loss of Rice. So they have an extra week to get him in the flow. I like San Fran in this rematch and lean heavy to the under. Though public money is flowing in on Kansas City at 77%. Makes me feel like the 49ers even more, though. But the injuries make me nervous here on the San Francisco side, especially in the kicker and potentially running back Mason. But I feel like they got another guy that can run the football. Jeff, can San Fran win without either back, McCaffrey or Mason?
I think they can. I'm definitely feeling stronger about the under. As I mentioned earlier, I think this year Mahomes is right now playing it very cautious, just taking what the defense gives you, not pushing it. So their scoring has been down versus what you've seen in the past. And I think that'll continue against a really good San Fran defense. And then San Fran has got the additional motivation being the loser in the Super Bowl. I think since they're not undefeated, they've got to, keep up to win their division. So I think San Fran wins this one and covers.
All right. Sunday night, the Steelers are hosting the Jets with the Jets -2 road favorites. Over under 38 and a hook. I think I've seen it down to 38. Steelers picked up a nice win last week, run the ball efficiently, but passing remains an issue with Pickens getting 8 targets and only 3 of 53. Got to wonder when Wilson is back in as a number one. I know he was taking snaps this week. Defensively, the Steelers are good, top 5 in scoring, but good offensive teams can score, and the Jets bring a pretty good offensive team to the Sunday night game. If Wilson goes, I like the over a lot. If Fields goes, I like the under a lot. And I would favor the Jets if Fields goes. But if Wilson goes, I don't know. I kind of feel like their offense may click a little bit. I'm holding off on this game, but I think I'm going to go with the Jets to win here. Jeff, which team gets it done on Sunday night?
Well, I did hear Fields talking about how Wilson will be the starter, and he agreed with it because he didn't think he had played well enough so far this season. So I do expect the Wilson insert into the starting lineup to be a little bit of a boost offensively, although Fields had generated third or fourth most touchdowns in the league. It's just all rushing and no passing. Um, so I think this was going to be a difficult game to call with so many changes. You got quarterback change here. You've got Devontae Adams coming in as the new receiver that's supposed to play this week for the Jets. I would stay away from it, but my numbers and gut tell me Pittsburgh ekes it out.
Yeah, with that, I'm going to have to change my pick on who's going to win this thing. If Wilson's a go, I'm going with the Steelers. Hey, two Monday night games. First one, Ravens traveled to Tampa. Tampa favored by 3.5 with the over under set at 49 and a hook. Two high scoring teams here, and I like the over, but wonder about the field conditions. I mean, the stadium was underwater a week ago. Yards per game are close. Scoring is number 2 for the Bucks, 4 for the Ravens overall. Defensively, both teams are kind of mid. This is a tale of two quarterbacks on Monday night with Baker 1-5 and Jackson 5-2. The Bucks are 2-8 to the over as a home underdog since 2020, and the Ravens are 9-15 as road favorites to the over. So I'm going to stay away from the points here, given the potential field conditions and just the fact that both these teams situationally have not scored well. I do like Jackson to win, but lean to the Bucks to keep it close, especially if it goes to 3.5. Jeff, does the aftermath of Milton affect this game at all? Emotions, any of that?
And before you had mentioned it, I hadn't thought of the hurricane and kind of the disaster coming back and galvanizing people. So that is a good point. I'm definitely leaning Baltimore after last week. Jackson is now 28-1 against NFC teams. And my only thought there is the NFC doesn't see him every year. And he's just so different from any other quarterback that they face. The first time a team sees him, they just can't adjust. So I think he does the same. I think he surprises Tampa Bay. I think they win and cover here.
All right, last Monday night game as the Chargers 2.5 road favorites to the Cardinals in Arizona with the over under at 44. Quite a few injuries to look at here for the Chargers on both sides of the ball, as I mentioned earlier in the pod. The Cards have had a tough schedule so far this season and lost badly to a very strong Green Bay team. Meanwhile, the Chargers continued with their third down efficiency and balanced attack, just 3 penalties last week. Neither team really commits a lot of penalties, both top 10 in the league, and the Chargers are penalized less on the road, but top 10 in the league, and the Chargers are penalized less on the road than at home. So there's not a lot of penalties here. Both teams run the ball efficiently in the top 10. So I see this getting under the total here. Harrison looks to be out with the concussion protocol, taking that offensive a weapon off the field. But I like the under, and I actually like Arizona to win and cover here. Jeff, who wins this one in Arizona?
I agree with you, and it surprises me. This is one that I'm going to go with my spreadsheet and my numbers. Looking at results and a little bit that I've seen of these two teams, I really thought the Chargers would be favored here, even with the injuries. But when I plug everything in, it shows Arizona to win and to cover. And the only thing I can think is the competition level has been significantly higher for Arizona. So it probably makes the Chargers look a little bit better to the naked eye than what they truly are. So I'm going to go Arizona on this one.
All right, so we have a lot. I think we're in agreement on a lot of points. Just to rehash, my free pick of the week is Green Bay -2.5. Jeff, what's your free pick? Pats -5, +5.5, correct?
South New England Patriots. Yes.
Yep. All right, let's go over our straight up picks before we sign off for for the
Okay.
night. I've got the Broncos over the Saints today.
Same here.
I'm taking the Jags to win, Jeff. I think you're taking the Pats.
Yes, I am.
I got Falcons over the Seahawks.
Same.
Bills over the Titans.
Same.
Bengals over the Browns.
Same here.
Packers over the Texans.
Yes.
I'm taking the Dolphins over the Colts.
I'm taking Indy.
I got the Lions over the Vikings.
Same.
I'm taking the Giants over the Eagles.
I'm taking the Eagles to win.
All right, I got the Rams over the Raiders.
Same.
Commanders over the Panthers.
Same.
49ers over the Chiefs.
Same here.
Steelers over the Jets.
Yes, same here.
I got Ravens over the Bucks.
Definitely.
And the Chargers over the Cardinals. I'm sorry,
And I've got
the Cardinals over the Chargers.
yeah, I've got Arizona.
All right, so we differ on the Jags, the Colts, and the Giants rookies. Hey, good luck this week. Jeff, I'll give you the last word.
Well, really, two last words. One, it's interesting to see some of the teams in so much turmoil this early in the season. It could be an early tank, or it could be maybe more activity around the trade deadline. So the Devontae Adams and the Amari Cooper trades might be indicative of a little something to watch for, and those could have some pretty big swings. And the second thing is just keep looking for any significant injuries. We'll keep you updated as much as possible, but I typically wait until right up till Saturday to make these bets, just in case there's some last minute changes, because it is very, very close at this point of the year.
Yep, that's a great point. Rookies, good luck, and we will see you next week.